Welcome to our presentation titled Web Mapping. My name is Darko, and in the following few minutes I'll take you through an important part of the life cycle of our application, which is the application performance. As part of the GeoCortex suite, there's a tool called GeoCortex Optimizer. This tool can be used to collect statistical information about performance of parts of our application and use those to make important decisions on how to optimize the performance of our application and in terms also improve the user experience. What we have on our screen here is a tool called GeoCortex Optimizer Configuration Tool. This tool allows us to configure collectors which run on the servers of interest. We can use those collectors to collect information about servers using the pin collectors and the performance statistic collectors, which uses WMI or the Windows Management Instrumentation. Also, we can use the website probes to test the availability of particular websites and also WMS map services. But what is really important is the performance of our ArcGIS map services, image services, and also geocoders. To do that, we have this thing called map service probes. A map service probe can be configured to have a look at a particular web server, ArcGIS server, select a particular service of interest, sample it, and then design tests which can be run on the whole extent of the service or particular extents. Using those probes, we can then identify if we need to raise a particular alarm condition. So if, for example, there is no response for a particular number of times, we can then raise an alarm. And alarms are very important because using an alarm, we can then go ahead and then send an email to appropriate users, or maybe run a script like restart the service or restart the server or send an SMS, things like that. As part of the collectors, there's also the geocoded probes and image service probes. The very important bits are the ArcGIS server logs. Using this log information, then we can have a look at parts of how our services work, whether it takes long time to retrieve the imagery or it takes long time to generate the labels. Also, we can have a look at the IIS logs to identify whether something's happening in our IIS. So once we have all this information configured, the collectors and the alarms, we can go ahead and design reports. So as part of Optimizer, there is the reporting configuration tool, which allows us to configure this thing called reportlets. So things like map extent changes or get a heat map of our application. Also identify popular extents, popular layers, popular scales. Once we configure our report, we can actually look at the report inside our web application. So the web application allows us to have a look at a month-by-month or day-by-day split of the performance of our GIS infrastructure. So what we have here on the screen is a quick look at the layer processing time for particular layers in our application. What I can have a look here is that this particular layer takes very long time to generate. That means that I have to spend some time to optimize the performance of this layer. How? Well, maybe introduce some scale dependency or generalize this. Also, on the graph here at the bottom, we have a look at that the image service requests or the time to generate a particular image in our server. It takes very long time in the geography phase. So what it means is that we should maybe spend some time to go and index our data. It will make it much faster to find the data we need to generate. Or we can identify here maybe it takes long time to label our data, in which case we need to maybe make some simpler labels and reduce the number of halos and things like that. Also, we can have a look at a general view of the system uptime. So on this particular screen, we can have a look at what is the system availability of our particular system of a particular time. Or we can have a look at the general map performance within our application. Also, GeoCortex Optimizer works very tight with GeoCortex Essentials. So when we have a particular site, we can identify what is the usability, how much of a particular site is used. So here I have a particular site for training, and also we can see what and how much each particular tool is used. So we can see that actually the reporting tool is used 6 times, or we can have a look at the actual distance measurement tool is used twice. So using this, we can have a look at how much particular tools are used and identify whether we need to keep those tools or maybe remove them. Also, we can have a look at how much particular users are using our application. So we can have a look here that our default user has used our site 101 times. So we can quickly see how Optimizer can be used quite quickly to identify the performance of parts of our application, and using that information we can optimize the performance of layers and also tweak our application to make sure that our users are happy.